One of our most senior policemen stood down after a fatal accident.
New video of young murder victim Tiali Palmer released as police offer a huge reward.
The Prime Minister heads north with Queensland set to become a key battleground at the next poll.
The European cars vying to replace Ford and Holden in our police patrols.
And Mad Max scoops 4 BAFTAs in the run-up to the Oscars.
This is 9 News Queensland.
Good evening. One of Queensland's most senior police has been placed on indefinite leave for running over and killing a father. The victim was on a Bucks weekend, apparently sleeping in the driveway of a police station.
Michael Best joins us now live from police headquarters. Michael, where does this investigation go now?
Andrew, ethical standards investigators have flown north, and this will also be overseen by the Crime and Corruption Commission, as is standard practice in these cases. Now, it's understood that Assistant Commissioner Taylor didn't see Ryan Savage as he was lying in the dark at the bottom of this ramp leading into the police station. That will now be scrutinised, just like so many other investigations this senior police officer has overseen before. Andrew.
All right, thanks, Michael. Well, let's cross now to Sean Power at the Logan Police Station. Sean, there's been a development in the Tiali Palmer case.
There certainly has been a major development. Police for the first time confirming that they've spoken to a number of people that they believe know a whole lot more as to what unfolded than they're really letting on when it comes to the murder of Tiali Palmer. And in an effort to try and ensure that one of those people come forward and do the right thing, a large reward is now on offer.
Lady Cilento Children's Hospital has hit back at criticism it's denying another child a bed by refusing to discharge baby Asher. Dozens of protesters remained at the site today in support of the hospital, standing by the asylum seeker. A vigil has entered its 4th day, with the Immigration Minister yet to comment on whether or not the baby will live here in Australia.
Hopes for new alcohol violence laws now rest with just 2 MPs. Robbie Katter and Shane Knuth will once again decide the government's fate and say they're keeping an open mind right down to the wire. But the clock's ticking. Parliament meets tomorrow.
Shane Doherty joins us from the floor of State Parliament. Shane, it all happens there tomorrow.
Oh, that's right, Melissa. It starts at 9:30 here tomorrow morning. But the big crunch, the vote, won't come until after 4 o'clock Wednesday afternoon. That's when the government wants people to come and fill this public gallery to watch what happens, because at this stage, right now, nobody knows how this one's going to turn out. Melissa.
All right, Shane, thank you. A 6-year-old girl has died after being bitten by a brown snake in northern New South Wales. The girl was bitten at a rural property on Walgett on Friday and flown to Sydney's Children's Hospital, where she was placed on life support. It's prompted emergency services to issue a fresh warning about the dangers of snakes. The number of cancers diagnosed across the state has more than tripled in 30 years. The latest figures also show that 1 in 2 Queenslanders will be diagnosed with cancer before they're 80 years old, and 1 in 7 will die from the disease. The good news, more Queenslanders than ever are surviving after a cancer diagnosis. Police have nearly doubled the amount of hours they spend on our roads catching speeding drivers. Much of it is due to the introduction of mobile speed cameras, but the Police Commissioner isn't making any apologies, saying they're changing driver behaviour. Well, Gary Youngbree's here now. Gary, what's the latest on Tropical Cyclone Tatiana?
Well, Tatiana weakened across the weekend just to a tropical low, but it left behind quite a solid groundswell affecting the Golden Sunshine Coast at the moment. So it's a tropical low sitting offshore, but over the coming days it's expected to head in a northerly direction. So let's take a look at the expected path for the rest of the week. Staying at tropical lows, it'll head further north into the Coral Sea and looks like re-intensifying again on Friday morning to a Category 1 storm at this early stage. We all know about cyclones. You never know what could happen over the coming days, so we'll continue to monitor that. We'll have all your local weather shortly.
All right, thanks, Gary. Coming up, the revolutionary water scooter making Queensland beaches safer.
An emerging young band and their manager killed in a shocking accident.
The simple home-based test that can diagnose cancer in just 10 minutes.
Plus, we ride along with Queensland Police as they test drive new wheels.
A mum and her 2 young children have been rushed to Gold Coast Hospital after a car crash at Advancetown. A 9-year-old boy and his 11-year-old sister were injured when a vehicle ploughed into their car. Police are investigating whether alcohol was a factor.
All 4 members of a British indie band have been killed in a car crash in Sweden. Viola Beach had performed at a festival in Stockholm just hours before their car plunged into a canal. The group's manager was also killed. Barack Obama has urged Russia to stop bombing moderate rebels in Syria. The US president telephoned Vladimir Putin as efforts to end Syria's war are stepped up. World leaders agreed on Friday to limit fighting in the country. Hundreds of thousands of people have gathered to see the Pope celebrate Mass in one of Mexico's most dangerous cities. Ecatepec has one of the country's highest murder rates and is overrun by warring drug cartels. Pope Francis spoke about the city's violence and poverty as he addressed the heaving crowds. Just ahead, a mother's emotional tribute to her daughter, killed in a suspicious caravan blaze.
A former Queensland sailor launches a class action against the Navy.
The high-powered prestige brands in the running to be our new police cars.
And the plan to bring fountains back to the River City.
The family of a young woman killed in a caravan fire at Darra has paid a heartfelt tribute to her. Italia Russo moved to Brisbane to start a new life. Her shattered mother now asking for help to give her daughter a fitting goodbye.
Coming up, the easy at-home cancer test that works in just minutes.
Thousands flee as fire engulfs a stage mid-performance.
Starting married life on a high, 50 weddings in the sky.
And a cyclonic swell providing some dangerous conditions on the coast, but also some great waves on our point breaks. We'll take a look at the surf in the weather.
It's an easy and affordable test that can be done in the comfort of your own home and could save your life. Using just 1 drop of saliva, the liquid biopsy will tell you in just 10 minutes if you have cancer. And while it's still in its trial phase, early results are impressive.
Queensland Police are behind the wheel testing out new squad cars. We'll reveal the luxury and high-speed models on the shortlist to replace the historic Holden and Ford. That story a little later in the bulletin.
Well, Wally's here now with the sport.
Thank you, Lofty. And a comprehensive win in Wellington means our cricketers are just a win away from being back on top of the world. The NRL premiers hit London, also looking to prove they're the world's best. The Gunners muscle in on Leicester's fairy tale. And the All-Stars of the NBA turn it on in Toronto. Australia can reclaim Test cricket's world #1 ranking with victory in the second Test against New Zealand beginning on Saturday. The Black Caps offered limited resistance today in Wellington as Steve Smith's men secured an innings victory in just 3.5 days. And there's always plenty of spectacular action in that game.
Certainly was, yeah. Thanks, Wally. Coming up, in the driver's seat with Queensland Police road testing new squad cars.
And Gary has the weather. Gee, it was a hot one today.
It certainly was, and that was right across the southeast. Good evening to all the folk in Gatton this evening. 37 degrees in the hottest place in the southeast today. It'll be much warmer tomorrow. 29 still in Ipswich, 28 degrees currently in the city, and 26 on the Sunshine Coast.
They're frightening, dangerous, and this suburban supermum loves them.
I'm sorry, I was loving it. I'm getting strangled here.
Meet Julia Baker.
There's a snake in my room.
Oh, yeah, that's an Eastern.
Australia's most colourful snake catcher.
As long as I don't break a nail.
New Inside Story, Thursday on WIN.
To finance, and the stock market closed higher. The All Ords up 76 points. Our dollar is buying 71 US cents. The average price for unleaded petrol in Brisbane is $1.12 a litre, slightly more expensive on the Gold Coast. The RACQ says prices should drop further. Queensland Police are in the market to spend more than $100 million to replace the fleet of squad cars. They're breaking away from Ford and Holden, testing some of the most prestigious cars from Europe.
Weather details now. Gary, some of the beaches off limits.
Yeah, absolutely. A dangerous surf warning along the coastal fringe. It's all that solid easterly groundswell generated from tropical cyclone Tatiana. Some great waves at Burleigh Heads today in that 4 to 6 foot range. Now, as this tropical low heads further north, it'll drag the biggest of the swell with it, but it will stick around over the next few days. So the Sunshine Coast likely to see the bigger waves as we move into tomorrow, but some very strong sweeps and rips about the beaches at the moment. Let's have a look at the temperatures across the southeast today. 36 degrees in Ipswich, 6 degrees above average. The high at Gatton with 37. We got to 34 in the city today, 33 in Logan, 33 also in Toowoomba, 31 degrees in Caboolture and also on the Sunshine Coast. On the weather map, there's ex-tropical cyclone Tatiana. It's expected to move in a northerly direction in the Coral Sea and could reform into a Category 1 on Friday. That's at this stage, certainly unpredictable. A strong cold front sweeping over Tassie, bringing some highland snow. Cold air affecting southern Victoria, and a southerly change will start to cool down New South Wales tomorrow. It should reach into Queensland as we move into Wednesday, but tomorrow will be an absolute scorcher. 40 in Perth tomorrow, 19 degrees in Melbourne, feeling the effects of the change and a few morning showers. Windy and showers in Hobart and just 15 degrees. Late showers in Sydney with a top of 27, 34 in Alice Springs, thunderstorms over the top end, but Queensland tomorrow a scorcher across the entire state. 36 degrees for Cairns, Townsville, 35 on the way for Mackay. Inland, hot and dry, 43 for Mount Isa, 42 for Longreach, 39 for Roma, 37 in Gympie tomorrow, 36 in Gladstone, and Rocky, 39 degrees. So the southeast corner, mostly sunny, certainly dry, 35 for Caboolture, 35 in Toowoomba tomorrow, 36 in Redlands, 38 for Ipswich. We could even see Gatton reach 40 degrees tomorrow afternoon. The Gold Coast, 33 degrees. We'll be waiting on the sea breeze. It'll start out southerly at 10 to 15 knots, tending east-northeast, so the coastal fringe will cool down in the afternoon. Offshore, the seas up to 2 metres. Water temperature at the moment, not too bad. It's around 25 degrees. 22 the overnight low, 36 in the city for tomorrow. The sun up at 5:31. 7-day outlook. The southerly change cooling things down on Wednesday. A possible shower. Thursday's probably the best chance of a shower or two over the next week, and the slight chance of a shower again on Friday. But at least temperatures back in the high 20s and around the 30-degree mark each day. So once again in Ipswich, cooling down Wednesday, Thursday and Friday. Thursday the best chance of a shower, and also for the Gold Coast, despite the possibility of a shower over the next few days. But we'll have to get through tomorrow firstly.
Yeah, all right. Thanks, Gary. And before we go, here's Carl and Lisa with a look at what's coming up tomorrow on Today.
Thanks, Melissa and Lofty. Coming up tomorrow.
Plans for lockout laws in Queensland go before Parliament on Tuesday. Are they going to work?
A special investigation tomorrow.
There's more news on our website, 9news.com.au.
Here's Tracy with a current affair. Good night.
Good night.